Hi. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to edit some photos for Vinted. This is fully open source because you don't want to spend money, you want to earn some money. This is on Debian 11 with a Nautilus file browser, and I am using Gimp as an image preview program. So here's my little structure of folders. This is my Vinted folder, and I have the year 2023 subfolder, and I've got the other years too, but they're in my backup, so yeah, fuck that. I'm gonna wipe this computer anyway anytime soon. These are the ones I have already put on Vinted, and here there are some shoe folders. Yay. I got a bunch of Birkenstocks from my kid and cheap sandals. Yeah, those are a ripoff. Don't buy sandals from H&M, like the cork is totally fake. Anyway, let's try these Lico sneakers here. They're pretty good sneakers actually for an off-brand. Is this an off-brand? I don't know. So I've got some decent photos here, and as you can see, I usually use some white paper as a background, or yeah, just anything white, because this is something you can easily remove. I also recommend doing different angles and lighting situations, as in this example, the light is coming from the left and the color of the shoes comes out pretty well in this scenario. Versus here, you can't really see much detail. And well, this is a macro shot or a close-up, and in here, you cannot really see the color either, but you can see the size inside the shoe. So also, like, especially with shoes, the soles are important to buyers. So whatever it is you're selling, if it's a shirt, you're gonna want to take a photo of some details, you know, so people can see, does it have pilling or anything? And this goes for any platform, eBay, Vinted, wherever you want to sell your stuff. And then here's a shot from the back. So yeah, that's basically it. This is going to be the main shot, and in Vinted you can use pictures with an aspect ratio of 2:3 or 9:16. So portrait mode, that's important. And the first photo matters. The other ones, I mean, if you swipe through, it's nicer if they all have the same aspect ratio and resolution and orientation. But the first one is the most important one because you want it to show up nicely in the preview. So I recommend using 9:16 aspect ratio, but because I'm lazy and it's easier to edit because you want to cut out stuff in the corners that you don't like, I don't always use 9:16, I use 2:3. Yeah, if you're in Gthumb, like me, you can just click G and then it'll open an instance of Gimp. Let's rotate this. Oh, I got some other shoe edits here already. Yeah, here you can see one edit of a pair of slippers for daycare, you know, like the cozy ones. And this is basically my edit. You can close the video now. It's straightforward, just warm colors, a little bit of curves, white balance. That's it. Anyway, let's close these. Damn, I think I got COVID for the 4th time. Okay, so Shift-C in Gimp to go to the cutout tool here. Let's maximize that window, right? This is a good cutout. I use the rule of thirds grid because that way you can place it in the center real nice. Hit enter and make sure that you have some space left and right of the shoes, because, you know, if you use 2:3 like me, it's likely to be cropped. I must say, I think there is no ideal aspect ratio for the page Vinted. And that is because the cutout that you see on the mobile app, on different mobile devices actually, and on the desktop version is always different. So yeah, just leave some space so it looks good on all devices. Now I'm using this smudge tool. I always call it the smear finger, but anyway, smudge tool. And I'm going to smudge away. Anyway, let's change the size beforehand. I usually use shortcuts, so it's Alt-I for image and then S for resize and 1E3, because 1000 pixels in the horizontal axis is just fine. Alt-S for scale. And here you go. So now I just eyeball it, and I prefer to use a brush that is not super feathered out, that has a bit of a massive center. So nothing like this or this. I prefer that brush that is not fading fast. And make that a little bit bigger. I mean, you can do that with a brush too if you want. that is why I prefer white background. You know, it's really easy to get into the corners. I do this because this is the fastest. I don't want to waste any time on this kind of stuff, but I also want to have a chance to actually selling these items at a good price. So I'm retouching this here to the best of my abilities. Yeah, this is already a good picture. Okay, so this is before and this is after. And now Control-Shift-D gives you a copy of the layer. There is not a destruction-free method to do this yet. So I copy the layers, but personally I don't really mind because a 1K by 1.5K image is not going to take up so much space. And it's also not a lot of RAM that it uses. Now I go to colors and levels and do white balance if the white balance doesn't look good yet. Yeah, the white balance ain't working again. Great, I love this bug. Fuck you, Gimp. Yeah, this is looking just fine. And then I click just anywhere and it opens the same dialog that you had the last time, like in this case levels, and I go to edit these as curves. And I am going to take down the white point. It's not super good in this because it's already a little bit too much. Anyway, usually this works well to swallow stuff like this corner of the paper or the wooden part I had underneath the shoes here as a backdrop. Usually it smooths that out pretty well because it swallows all highlights. Anyway, you can go up a little bit here if you want to highlight the whole picture. Anyway, this can also be done manually. In this case, it's a bit annoying because, you know, you want to save time on this. It's not a full-time job. You are not a photo editor. You just want to make like nice pictures so you can sell your kids' shoes and make like $5 or whatever. You know, you don't want to spend 1 hour on this and do it to perfection because then you can get a job as a photo editor. You know, that's not why you're doing this. You just want to get rid of these shoes. Anyway, let's see if I can do this better. Yeah, I think this is quite well. By the way, if you feel bad about this kind of editing and you feel like it swallows a lot of colors, really don't be. H&M does the same. If you're looking at the H&M pictures in their catalog, they're all capped too. So see, and now this detail is almost gone, and you can now smudge it out a little bit if you want to, but yeah, it doesn't really matter. This will look good in the preview. And if you want to remove some dirt here, don't remove any like hard stains, but sometimes there is a cat hair on it or something, and that I would remove with either the repair tool or the clone tool in this, because it's not really faking it, it's just making it look more put together, and that's fine. You just forgot to clean it. Like here's a little hair. I wouldn't remove that usually because it's minor, but let me just show you how I do this. So the repair tool, here I use a smooth brush, by the way. The repair tool, and don't use too much opacity, is a tool that takes into account the surroundings and doesn't just clone. So if your surroundings are bright and you are editing in a dark area, that will make the dark area brighter. For instance, if I go here and then take this as an example and then go here, this will go brighter, right? You don't want to do that. So in this case, you'd rather use the clone tool because, you know, if you come too close to this bright area, it will take it into account too, even though you copied something from here, right? You see? So we're not doing that. Instead, we're using the clone tool. By the way, I hate the new GIMP. I don't know all the shortcuts by heart. Anyway, so select this and then go here. And boom, is gone. It looks nice. So, and for orientation, if you have like a border like this, you can always click on the border and then go next to here, because then you have a better orientation. And now this cat hair is gone. Nice. And we're gonna make another copy, Control-Shift-D. And the last thing that I do is color corrections via the hue saturation dialog. Usually I choose an overlap of about 50, so half overlap of the curve. And I reduce the cyan tones and the blue tones if like the image is not super heavy on blue tones. Like in this case it is purple, so I don't want to reduce them too much to not have like a fake color. I want the buyer to see what the color is really like. So, but usually cyan, I turn that down quite a bit, and also the yellows, because if you didn't do a very clean white balance, you see like in the shadows there's a lot of yellow, which usually makes pictures look cheap. If you look at commercial shots, usually you have deep dark blacks that are desaturated. The dark tones are usually not bluish. That is more like a movie or a hipster thing to do. You don't want to do that in your commercially-ish looking shots for Vinted. And that's that. I mean, you have the magenta. Let's just see where the magenta is. It's not a lot in it. And the red, which is here the salmon color. Let's see if you can turn that down. Yeah, that looks boring. And too red also doesn't look like it looks in real life. I always try to make the photos look as close to what it looks in real life. Of course, it is great if you have a color corrected display, but if you don't, just work with a glossy display like your phone. Usually those are very well calibrated. Anyway, that's it. And now we can look at the final edit before and after. And it's a little bit too bright, but I will make up for this with the other photos. So the other pictures will be edited in a way that you see a lot of the product, a lot of the color and texture. I would not make them as bright as this one and as high contrast, but for the presentation in like the Vinted catalog, it's better if your image looks like that, because then it will stick out, and otherwise it will just look like a murky, dark picture that's not interesting. Usually edits are too dark because you don't see it, especially like the background here of Gimp is just dark. Unless you're a psychopath and you have the light theme, then what's wrong with you? But usually, you know, normal people have the dark theme. Look at this. It's easier on the eyes if you have the dark background, but Vinted, because they're creeps, is a white website. Anyway, that's my edit. I'm gonna show you now another edit of a second picture and then we're done. So feel free to skip ahead. Oh yeah, let's use this one. G to open it, and Shift C for the crop, and 2x2, which is the same as 1x1. Go. And let's smudge away at this. Smudge, 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 smudge. This might look like a lot of effort, but I usually do these in under 5 minutes because I've done this so many times that I'm very used to it. I wouldn't do this if it wouldn't be as fast, because it's a waste of time, and time is money. You could do other things in that time. But I do care about the environment, and I think it's better to find a new owner for, you know, your stuff. And I also think that you are responsible for your stuff. You shouldn't just leave it to the landfill or just hope that somebody will take it from your donation box or whatever and then take care of it responsibly. I think it's better to take care of it as first-hand as possible yourself. Now we go to the levels again. I'm using the last one. Oh yeah, that looks good. But I'm going a little bit darker because I don't want too much contrast. More contrast is always associated with less detail. So the picture with more contrast will be perceived as visually more pleasing, but digital imaging processing wise, the preferable image is the one with a lower contrast and higher detail, as in higher variance. So go with that to please the interested mom that wants to buy these kids' shoes, because she will see more details and know more about the product from that. So the second, third, and so on picture should always be detail oriented and interesting for the buyer, and it's not so important that they are like photographically pleasing. It's not an art competition. Okay, here you go. And then I might edit the curves again a little bit. This looks just fine, just so it looks natural. Usually these pictures don't have a lot of contrast. And that's that. There's my second picture. There's my first picture. And here you have it. I hope you liked this little tutorial, and I hope you make a lot of sales on Vinted with nice pictures, because too many people have really shitty pictures on Vinted. That being said, if you feel like you put too much effort into this and this takes you a long time, then don't do it. Just put your pictures in a well-lit spot on a white background, lay them out clearly, iron this stuff, you know, the shirts you want to sell, and wash the shoes you want to sell, and just so it looks nice and fresh, which makes most people actually want to buy it compared to just your average crappy user pick. I must say that since I'm using this method, I've been selling 5 times more than before. It is a little bit of work, but because I am so used to photo editing anyway, because I just edit a hell of a lot of pictures, it doesn't really bother me. Looking at this video, like the whole video is now 20 minutes, but that is with talking. So without talking, it would have probably been like 5 minutes. And I also reapply all the white balances, all the curves and the color corrections to the picture, so I don't really have to redo them. I just have to tweak them a little bit, and then I upload the pictures. Sometimes when I'm really lazy, I just take a picture on my phone and then I edit that, like on the phone. Sometimes, for instance, Google Photos app, it has this remove shit from the background option, and it is okay-ish. And there are a lot of other tools. There are no curves though, and it's so easy to edit with curves. Like, I don't understand why people don't do that. But generally, on my phone, it takes longer. You just think it's more convenient because you're on the phone and hey, I'm on my phone anyway, so let's just edit this. And if you can do that at the bus stop, and you know you cannot do this computer stuff at a bus stop, then that's fine. Do what is faster for you and what works for you. But I'm telling you, if you have nice looking pictures, you're gonna make more sales. Anyway, happy selling. That's it.